Robert Louis Stevenson, A Literary Journey into Adventure and Duality. 1. Life and Family. Robert Louis Stevenson was born on November 13, 1850, in Edinburgh, Scotland, into a family of engineers. His father, Thomas Stevenson, was a prominent lighthouse engineer, and his mother, Margaret Isabella Balfour, came from a family of lawyers and clergymen. Despite the family's engineering legacy, Stevenson was drawn to literature from an early age. As a child, Stevenson suffered from chronic respiratory illnesses, which led to a somewhat sheltered upbringing. His health issues persisted throughout his life and significantly influenced his travels and lifestyle. He studied law at the University of Edinburgh, but never practiced it. Instead, he dedicated himself to writing. In 1876, he met Fanny Osborne, an American woman 10 years his senior, who was separated from her husband. They married in 1880, and Fanny played a crucial role in Stevenson's career, acting as both a critic and an inspiration for his works. Their marriage was a passionate and unconventional one, and together, they traveled extensively, seeking climates that would benefit Stevenson's fragile health. Eventually, they settled in Samoa, where Stevenson became deeply involved in local politics and culture until he died in 1894 at the age of 44. 2. Main works. Stevenson was a prolific writer known for his adventure stories, psychological thrillers, and travel literature. His most famous work, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 1886, explores the duality of human nature and remains one of the most iconic Gothic horror stories of all time. The novella delves into themes of repression, morality, and the struggle between good and evil, making it a subject of literary and psychological analysis for generations. Another well-known work, Treasure Island, 1883, is one of the greatest adventure novels ever written. Featuring Long John Silver and a quest for buried treasure, the novel set the template for modern pirate stories. Its influence can be seen in countless adaptations in film, television, and literature. Stevenson also wrote Kidnapped, 1886, a historical adventure novel set in Scotland that follows the journey of David Balfour. The Black Arrow, 1888, another historical novel, explores the Wars of the Roses through the lens of adventure fiction. His later works include The Master of Ballantrae, 1889, and The Ebb Tide, 1894, co-written with his stepson, Lloyd Osbourne. In addition to fiction, Stevenson was a celebrated travel writer, producing works like Travels with a Donkey in the Cevennes, 1879, and In the South Seas, 1896, which detail his adventures in Europe and the Pacific Islands, respectively. 3. Anecdotes and controversies. Stevenson's life was filled with fascinating stories that reflect his adventurous spirit and unconventional lifestyle. One well-known anecdote involves the inspiration for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The idea reportedly came to him in a dream, which was so vivid that he awoke in a panic. His wife, Fanny, recalled that he began feverishly writing the story upon waking and completed the first draft in just a few days. However, Fanny criticized the original version, prompting Stevenson to rewrite it completely, a decision that ultimately led to its success. Another intriguing aspect of his life was his deep connection to the Samoan people. After moving to Samoa, Stevenson became known as Tusitola, which means teller of tales. He actively engaged in local politics, defending the Samoans against European colonial rule and writing letters to British and American newspapers advocating for their rights. He was so beloved that when he died, the Samoan people carried his body to the top of Mount Via, where he was buried. Although Stevenson was widely admired, he was not without controversy. One of the main points of contention surrounding his work was its departure from traditional Victorian moralism. While some praised Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for its psychological depth, others viewed it as disturbing and inappropriate for general readership. The novel's exploration of the darker aspects of human nature clashed with the moral expectations of the time. His views on colonialism also sparked debate. While he defended the Samoans against European exploitation, some critics argue that his role as a European living among the natives placed him in a position of privilege. While his writings about the South Seas are sympathetic, they have been analyzed through post-colonial perspectives that question the complexities of his relationship with the indigenous people. Another controversy involved his personal life. His relationship with Fanny Osborne was unconventional by Victorian standards. She was older than him, divorced, and had children from her previous marriage. Their elopement and subsequent marriage scandalized both their families and social circles. However, Stevenson remained devoted to Fanny throughout his life despite their turbulent relationship. For conclusion, Robert Louis Stevenson remains one of the most celebrated writers of the 19th century. He is known for his ability to craft compelling adventure tales, Gothic horror stories, and insightful travelogues. His works continue to be widely read and adapted, and his influence on literature is undeniable. Despite his short life, he left behind a rich legacy that bridges entertainment and deep philosophical inquiry. His exploration of duality, morality, and adventure ensures that his writings remain relevant and compelling to this day.